Yesterday in our Wonderful Day in the Lord broadcast, we began our study of the bowl judgments found in chapter 16 of the book of Revelation. And we looked at the first three of those judgments being poured out. We're going to back up for just a moment to verse 5 of chapter 16 and look at another piece of information concerning the third bowl judgment. It says there that I heard the angel of the waters saying. So we find that angels are extremely active in the book of Revelation during this time of tribulation. And we have here the angel of the waters at this point. That in some sense, in some way, this angel has command over waters that are being affected. We find something similar in other places in the book of Revelation. For example, if you go back to chapter 7 and verse 1, it speaks of four angels who are related to the wind. It says, "And I saw four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, holding back the four winds of the earth, so that no wind could blow on the earth." And so we have these angels that are in somehow command of or in charge of these particular winds. So we have the winds here. 9:11, we have another angel mentioned. When it says here, the angel of the abyss, it says, "And they have a king over them, the angel of the abyss." And his name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and this is Satan himself, we believe. And he is an angel, an evil angel, a sinful angel, that is the king over the abyss, the angel over the abyss. And then in chapter 14, we have another angel that in verse 18, 14:18, it says relates to fire. "And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven. He also had a sharp sickle. And then another angel, the one who had the power over fire, came out from the altar." So this angel has power over fire. Now we're coming back to the bowl judgment in verse 5, the third bowl judgment. And this is the angel of the waters. And so we don't know exactly what all that means and how the angels have control or power over these particular things, wind and the abyss and fire and water, but they are actively involved and they're mentioned here in the book of Revelation. We move on now to the fourth bowl judgment in verse 8. It said, "The fourth angel poured out his bowl upon the sun, and it was given to it to scorch men like fire," or with fire. So we have once again the sun being affected by some of these judgments. And this time we have the ultimate and global warming as people are now being scorched with fire. So we don't know exactly what that means, except that once again we have an intense heat that is miserable for those people that are on the earth. And it says in verse 9, "Men were scorched with fierce heat." Now what do they do as they face this judgment of God, this intense heat? It says they blaspheme the name of God, who has the power over these plagues, and did not repent so as to give him glory. So we find that once again we have a resistant people. They know the judgment of God, they know where that judgment has come from, and their reaction is to blaspheme God, speak evil of God, and more importantly, they refuse to repent. So they refuse to turn from their sin and turn back to God. So these judgments are not softening them up. The judgments are not bringing them to the Lord. The judgments are hardening them, and they're becoming more ugly and more antagonistic as it goes along. Nevertheless, the Lord has a fifth judgment coming from in verse 10, "And then the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became darkened, and they gnawed their tongues because of pain." So we find now a little bit different one. This is directed directly at the beast himself, the Antichrist, and his throne. Remember, Satan has set up the Antichrist on his throne, so his kingdom becomes darkened. So this is particularly against the Antichrist at this time. Now notice the reaction of the kingdom of the Antichrist. "And they blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and they did not repent of their deeds." So the population, the general population, have blasphemed God and have not repented. And so the kingdom of the Antichrist, we would have to say these are probably the leadership, the higher-ups of the Antichrist, the people right involved in his system. They too have the same reaction. They blaspheme God. They blame all the problems, all their woes on God. and then they refuse to repent of their deeds. So they're not softening, they're not turning to God, they're continuing to harden themselves against him. And that will lead the Lord to his sixth bowl judgment poured out on the earth that we will look at tomorrow. So I hope you can join us as we take a look at verse 12 next time. Have a wonderful day in the Lord.